That is because part
Mm.
of the aspects of this trial, especially in the arid grasslands, is your ability to attack while you are mounted.
Hey everyone, it's Spopes. The developers at ZOS just held their monthly ESO Dev stream, and they covered a lot of interesting and important material. Most notably, they talked about the upcoming High Seas of Tamriel event and the new Crimson Veldt trial, which will feature mounted spear combat. In this video, I'm going to simmer everything down to the most pertinent details. Before we dive in, please make sure you subscribe to the channel. Only around 25% of you have. Please like, hype, and share this video. And if you want to take your support a step further, become a member of the Spopes Army, pick up some merch, or leave a donation. So yeah, there's a lot of important stuff in this stream. Let's get into it. We're going to start off with learning more about the High Seas of Tamriel event. In the first 20 minutes here, they just kind of chatted and also talked about the PTS, but that's all been covered elsewhere. We know what's going on with the PTS already, so we're going to skip right into the event details.
Zenki, why don't
Yeah.
you treat us to a little preview of High Seas of Tamriel? This is a brand new thing that we're trying this year.
This is a brand new thing. I would be happy to. I am standing now on the shore of the Gold Coast over here on the right. This is the Anvil Lighthouse. And I'm standing on the shore because this is sort of your launching point for this experience. The High Seas event, which is a brand new experience that the events team has put together. What is this? What this is going to be is an on-ramp quest with a bunch of really fun lore and story that is going to touch on the maritime past of Tamriel. If you are a lore head like me, there's a lot of cool nautical stuff out there, and this quest touches on a bunch of that in a bunch of different ways. And at the end of the quest, you get access to a ship for the length of time that this event is live. It's not, unfortunately, a sort of free-roaming ship that you can just pilot around the seas of Tamriel. It is a ship that has one purpose: recover lost treasure. You have been given the ship by an undead buccaneer who loves himself some shiny gold coins. And now you, in your daily quest while this event is live, get to take what we're calling a voyage on the ship, the Riotous Redress, and go hunting for gold. I can show you a little bit of what that's like. Here's a little camp here. These are our friends that we've met along the way on our trip, and we have the boat which will take us on a voyage on the Bishin Sea. After you do the on-ramp quest and you get access to the daily, you'll hop aboard the little boat right out to the ship here. And as you can see, this ship has seen some things. It's been at the bottom of the sea for quite some time. Magic and gum are kind of holding this thing together.
I just want to jump in here and say how much I like the vibes of this event so far. Definitely some Pirates of the Caribbean kind of stuff here. This ship that's been at the bottom of the ocean. However, I am already noticing there's a pretty limited scope here, it seems. I don't know if you're really going to be fighting off other ships. You can't pilot it where you want to go. So it's more limited than some of us had hoped. But let's let them keep going.
What you're going to do is when you come out here, there's a bell up here at the top of the steps, and you'll ring it. And this is a warning bell because off in the distance, there is a sea elf pirate ship that is going to attack the boat. What's going to happen then is there will be a series of attacks that happen, both borders and fire getting fleeing in on the deck. You and your cohorts here will have to jump into the fray, repair holes in the deck, and stop the ship from sinking. As long as you stop the ship from sinking and either kind of like hold out long enough for the Mariner ship to lose interest, or you sink it, which is a possibility that you can do using these lovely catapults, then you will get access to sort of the second half of the experience. This is a very fun fight. We do some pretty different things here in terms of encounters. There's going to be a lot of dudes on the ship to fight with. This is a totally soloable experience. You can do this all by yourself, but if you want to jump into this with a party and have fun with them as well, you absolutely can. One of the fun things about that is that there is a way to go downstairs below decks in the ship. If you're by yourself, we don't want you to have to run around and worry about a whole other level. Like, you're going to just have to worry about the deck, the damage to the deck, and the borders up here. If you're with other people, there can be borders downstairs, there can be fires to start downstairs, and you can kind of split
that's
time a
cool.
little bit. Yeah,
So it
it's
scales whether you're
a
solo or you've got
little
people with you.
right. I don't want to say, obviously we've just seen some really challenging content. I wouldn't compare it to
Yeah.
sort of like dungeon difficulty or anything like that, but it definitely, there's like a little bit of a different experience if you're solo or in a group.
That's
This
cool.
is very much intended to be like a fun, casual, sort of adventurous experience. You grab your repair stuff out of the materials chest, and a lot of these folks have fun VO personalities. You can get to know them a little bit. And your main crew are your allies from the original quest, who you'll get to know over the course of that experience. So that's the first part here, is a fun encounter with this ship, which you will like. You can, it's misty and gray and quiet out there right now, but when the ship comes in, things get pretty crazy. Once you've either defeated the ship, you've sunk it, or you've kind of withstood their attack, you get to move to the second piece of the experience.
So there's a lot I really like here. I wish you had a little bit more control over the ship. You could pilot to different destinations, stuff like that. And I don't know, without him showing us, what's actually going to be unique or different about this. Basically, it sounds like there's going to be red circles on the deck to avoid monsters showing up you have to slay. And then you'll be running back and forth, patching holes and stuff. So that doesn't sound like incredibly thrilling right off the bat. But again, without actually experiencing it, we can't really know. But what I do love is the overall idea that you're out on a ship, and anytime the Maormer show up, I'm happy. I absolutely love the Maormer. So you're going to be fighting a bunch of Maormer dudes who are going to jump on the ship. You can actually sink their ship if you're good enough, which is cool. And I also like how it's dynamic, where more elements show up if you have more people in your group. So you can solo it. Don't worry, it's not going to be that hard. But it gets just more complex if you have more people in your group. So there's a lot to like here. I just wonder if it's going to get repetitive and boring after a few days.
So you've dealt with the encounter up here. You've dealt with the ship-to-ship battle. And now this thing is your ticket to the bottom of the sea. This is as a lore nerd, I am over the moon about this thing that we have it in the game. This is a Dwemer diving chamber. We have hinted in the past about the idea that the Dwemer not only explored Nirn and other Daedric realms, but the bottom of the oceans as well. This is a chance for us to show a little bit of that. I don't go into the details of how you have this. You can kind of find that out in the quest as you jump in. But you have access to this diving chamber for the length of time that you're doing this event.
So that is honestly just so cool. I don't really have anything meaningful to say here. Just nice. Yeah, okay. You get a Dwemer diving chamber. Okay, so I think the only time you've been underwater before is, I think it's the Graven Deep dungeon. This is definitely the coolest part of the event. Let's keep going.
And by jumping in this thing and going to the bottom of the ocean, you get to hang out and check it out, which I will take us there now. So the first thing you'll notice here is that not only is this diving chamber take us to the bottom, but it is like with many Dwemer constructs, it has a little bit of magic to it. And by stepping out of the diving chamber, we are protected by a high pressure retaining air bubble. This thing keeps us safe here at the bottom of the ocean, keeps us from being crushed, and allows us to breathe. The other thing that's really cool about being down here is, as you can see, other than like maybe a little slowness, like just normal movement rules down here. There's normal combat down here. We are not trying to do a water level. We're not trying to do a water level. We're not doing 3-dimensional combat or anything like that. But what you can do is you can do moon jumps. So as you can see here, when you walk around and you do a jump, you get a little bit of extra lift to you. We are not alone down here. There are paddleids, there are all sorts of creepy crawlies. You can think of this as sort of a small scale explorable zone with a bunch of nooks and crannies to find out cool stuff in. We have messages in a bottle, we have fights. This, if for some reason you do get into a fight down here, bubbles pop, and so if you need to get your bubble back...
I mean, cool, but if your bubble popped, wouldn't you be like instantly crushed by the pressure? Okay, well, non-real physics rules apply here apparently. But yeah, so far this looks great. I love the high jump. It would be cool if you could actually swim around and there was 3-dimensional combat, but I understand it's a pretty tall order. So far this event is striking me as cool while not like overwhelming or majorly game changing. It'll be a lot of fun.
So ultimate goal, right? Like the reason we're down here, treasure, get treasure. We have some very cool environments wherein we have turtle boss fights, some very large crabs, and ultimately what you are aiming to do is you're going to get to the end of this experience and get the delightful treasure. One of the things that I think is a really cool element we're doing with this event is we're focusing on some very fun, different itemization stuff. So in addition to cosmetics, and there's a mount and a number of other different things, we're leaning very heavily into furnishings and antiquities. Antiquities make perfect sense for going treasure hunting down at the bottom of the ocean, right? Like
Yeah.
you'll be able to pull up some leads, go dig up some cool treasure. And here in my pack, I have a couple things to show off. A number of these things are going to be available just from treasure chests. Some of them are available as antiquity leads. I'm very excited to say that some of these are a brand new thing that we're doing in the event for the first time. We are going to be giving you an antiquity lead that leads to a furnishing crafting recipe. So you do the antiquity to get the recipe to then to be able to craft as many of a particular item as you want. Here you can see our diving bell buddy. We have little fish.
No.
Yeah, we got a lot of cool stuff in here.
Is that a mud crab
There's
fossil?
your
This question popping
Go
up
ahead.
asking if some players can be on the ship while some are underwater.
Yeah. Can your
Uh,
group be split?
So yes, think of it like a stage, right? So the fighting piece is going to be first, and then once you're done with the fighting piece, that's what unlocks access to the underwater segment. If you want to stay up on the ship, you can do that. In fact, you're out at sea. It would be pretty cool if you could go deep sea fishing off the boat once all the fighting had sort
Yeah.
of calmed down.
Yeah.
And in
You
fact,
can.
you can think of it like sort of three phases, right? There's you're out there to get treasure. You fight a bunch of pirates. You have an underwater adventure, and then if you and your buddies want to hang out on the ship and do some fishing and hang out for a while before you all head back to shore, that's the vibe.
So the vibe here seems a little more laid back than I was expecting, which isn't necessarily a bad thing, especially coming off the night market, which was so intense. But it's definitely a more cozy event than I thought it would be. I wish we'd seen the bosses, but that's okay. I really do like the idea of being able to get furnishing plans from antiquity leads. Having to do the same antiquity over and over again to get multiples of a furnishing is kind of a chore. This way you'll be able to do it once and have that furnishing forever, as many as you want. So let's see if there's anything else important in this section.
There's
Yeah.
a bunch of treasure chests findable down at the bottom of the sea. Both your ultimate goal, the treasure grotto, and individual treasure chests along the way that you can find, for example, by doing the jumping puzzle or just exploring around in the space.
I did want to just clarify real quick. This is going to be coming to PTS sometime during the update 51 PTS cycle, which is going to be in July. And then the content isn't going live until a little bit later this year. It'll be during season 1.
I know. New achievements with the event?
Absolutely new achievements. Yep, all sort of the normal event stuff that you can expect here, including trade bars in this one.
All right. Well, again, this is just kind of a first look at High Seas of Tamriel. We will definitely be talking more about this as the year progresses once we get into season 1.
All right, so my final thoughts here. This looks really cool. It's maybe a little disappointing in some ways in terms of its scope and depth. It's more cozy and laid back than what I was thinking with, naval ship battle events. But at the same time, there's some really cool parts here. I think it will be fun to just be able to explore underwater, either solo or with friends. Go find buried treasure. Definitely a very piratey theme here. I like how it's solo friendly. I like how it's a really new take on things. I just wonder if by the end of the event, you'll be tired of doing the same old thing, the same old Marmor ship battle, etc. So not quite as innovative and out of the box as it could have been. But so far, High Seas of Tamriel is surprising me by how cozy and just sort of laid back fun it looks. I'm definitely still excited for this to happen in September, just excited in a different way now. And now we're going to learn more about the new trial, and I'm not really a trial person, but I might have to do this one, because not only is there going to be mounted combat, but mounted spear combat. So some crazy new stuff happening with this trial. They're going to pass the baton over to Mike Finnegan here, and we're going to learn more about Crimson Veldt.
Let's move on to Finn. You wanted to talk a little bit about
Yes.
Crimson Veldt. This is the new trial that is coming out.
It is. So I'm not going to spoil the entirety of the trial. This isn't a walkthrough where we're going to walk through all of the mechanics or anything like that. But I'm going to give you a brief preview of some of the things that we've been working on, but we haven't really talked about. So we did talk about hard mode Basepop And that was kind of like the one key indicator stuff. But there's a lot more coming to this trial than just hard mode Basepop.
Okay, what is hard mode base pop? Am I supposed to know what this is? I guess I'll look it up. Hard mode base pop. I'm not seeing anything here. So this means that trash mobs in the trial will have hard mode level difficulty? Is that what it means? They just keep dropping hard mode base pop and expect everyone to know what that means. I have still basically no idea what that means. Maybe you guys can tell me in the comments, but let's move on.
First of all, I wanted to show you the visuals for where we're at. So as a refresher for Crimson Veldt, this takes place in Hircine's hunting grounds, but it's a different area of Hircine's hunting ground that is more savanna than than we've seen previously. We've seen in the hunting grounds in the base game, as well as March of Sacrifices and stuff, where you saw that was more of a foresty kind of area. But this is a different take on hunting grounds. But I wanted to show you some visuals for what this trial looks like. So there is some really cool aspects. So there are like 3 or 4 sections to this trial. This is the very first section. This is called the Arid Grasslands. And you could see as we look, you're on a kind of a mesa in the middle of the Arid Grasslands, which is where we start. And we walk through here. Now you may notice that this is just the first section of the trial. I'll bring up the map real quick so you can see. There's a lot of little icons around here, which I'll kind of touch on a little bit. And this area looks really, really big, which could feel daunting to people as you. So this is the first trial that you can mount. So you will be able to mount up in this trial and run around.
That's
Now,
so cool.
you may notice something different about my mount. You see I have a spear in my hand. That is because part of the aspects of this trial, especially in the arid grasslands, is your ability to attack while you are mounted.
So this is absolutely mind-blowing for 2 reasons, maybe even more. Let's see how many I get to. First of all, you can mount in a trial. I mean, that's pretty cool, right? But second, mounted combat. And yeah, already a third reason, mounted combat with a spear. So here I am really hoping they don't limit this to just this one trial. They've obviously put together the technology here to make it possible to have a weapon that you actually use for combat while you are on your mount. This is something people have wanted in the game since its launch, and we've been consistently told it's basically not possible. Well, apparently it is possible, and it's possible even with a spear, which is the weapon type that has been the most requested throughout the lifetime of ESO. We've gotten new classes, new skills, new skill lines. We've never gotten new weapons. So please, Zos, first of all, make mounted combat not just be in Crimson Veldt. And also, please, add spears to the game as weapons. You've just shown us that you can do both. It would be such a lame and shisty move not to do that at some point in the future. I get Crimson Veldt being a test, maybe not having this be more widespread for a year or so, but now that it's possible, now that you've shown us it's possible, add mounted combat to the rest of the game, or at least other parts of the game, mounted combat with spears or other weapons, and let us use spears not only when we're in mounted combat. Make spears a weapon class in the game. But yeah, this is cool on the face of it that you're going to be able to do mounted combat in a trial. It may make me actually do this trial. But yeah, what's even cooler than the fact you'll be able to do mounted combat in Crimson Veldt is what this may mean for the future of mounted combat in the rest of the game, and possibly even having spears as weapons.
And you will get another special ability. It's actually part of the entire first part of this trial. The Arid Grasslands is running around on your mount to these different ritual sites in order to lure out the first boss and then drag that boss down to the ground and fight it. And you usually fight it in 3 of these different ritual sites, which you get to determine. So there's a bit of a player mastery aspect to it. And then you fight them, and then you can travel on to the next area. I will show you the cool horn this is the hard mode Basepop horn. The horn of the blood moon. You blow this horn, and then all the Basepop is hard mode Basepop. I'm going to go down into the arid grasslands real quick.
I do think it's so funny they keep dropping hard mode Basepop. Like, we all know what it means. I guess it does mean what I thought it meant when I looked it up, that all of the monsters then have hard mode level difficulty. I also think it's funny that's called Horn of the Blood Moon. Anyone who's played Breath of the Wild, a blood moon rises, right? You know, it makes sense because also the enemies get harder in Zelda when there's a blood moon. I just almost worry about a Nintendo lawsuit here because it does the exact same thing and it's called the same thing, but it's a cool call out to Zelda, even if they're not meaning it to be.
I
My
saw a
mistake.
couple people asking, what does base pop mean? Do you want to explain that real quick?
Okay, finally, here we go. We're getting an explanation of what base pop means.
For
Base
folks who
pop
may not
is
be familiar.
basically non-boss. Anything that is not a boss is base pop. I know most people call it trash. There's also the humanoid monsters in here are the first turn. So this is the story of this is the first group of mortals that Hircine turned a long time ago. And the overall story is that they have grown disillusioned with living in the hunting ground and just hunting nonstop. And they're led by somebody named Cargrim, and he wants to take control and absorb Hircine's power in order to break free of this cycle.
Okay, now that is really cool, lore-wise, with especially everything I've been learning about werewolves recently. Obviously, being stuck in this endless hunting experience is not what most people want from the afterlife. So adding in this drama of the people who are here wanting to get out, that's a really cool move. Makes the lore of this trial a lot more interesting to me.
That's part of what we're going to need to do as we run around the arid grasslands and kind of lure Sootfeather, which is the very first boss, down to the ground. You use abilities in order to kind of drag it down to the ground, and then you fight it and defeat it. Once you do defeat it, you get to go to this absolutely awesome gate that you traverse to the next section of the trial. But I did want to show off this gate. This is a new custom gate that we got here. Again, some of these visuals are not quite finished yet and stuff. They're Sootfeather.
Hey, Finn, what zone does this link off of?
The Reach.
Okay.
So if you look at,
Makes sense.
it's over here on the
mhm.
right side of this map right here, which makes a lot of sense because the Reachmen were all heavily involved with Hircine.
But
Sorry.
you can use any mount here. It doesn't have to be a specific
Yes,
mount.
you can use any mount.
And that includes the
in here.
multi-rider mounts too, right?
It does. Yeah, yes, I think it works with the multi-rider mount, but yeah, the goal is to use this with any mount. We're going to jump to the next section and fall through the world. Okay, well, this is what it looks like under the world.
Yeah, it looks great. Sky is amazing.
Well, we'll show you that one later, but this is Flayed Basin. So this is another section, and one thing to take in mind here is there is what we call a mini boss. This is Moonchaser, and Moonchaser you're going to see in various parts of the trial, and you can engage him wherever you want, but he'll follow you around. Like, you can't skip him. He'll eventually show up closer kind of to the second boss. This cool section here, which I'm just showing off the visuals here, this is the Butcher's Belly. This is an absolutely gorgeous kind of like underneath this massive tree.
Oh, wow.
Where they have, so if you thought the skybox looked good before, this is kind of
This is
underneath
cool.
the Butcher's
Yeah.
Belly that, and you can see that the magic has kind of infected the roots and stuff like that. This is the magic that Cargrim is using to kind of subdue Hircine, which you actually see in the very final section, which I'm not going to actually go there. You see this is kind of like a winding path that leads you to the very final section here. So this is what I was going to say. So I'm mounted in here, and you have these braziers here. This is what starts this section. You see this giant chimera here. This thing is going to chase us, but this is an entire mounted section. So this part of the trial, everybody mounts up, and you're going to run through here. You see this? This is a speed boost. As you go through it, it speeds you fast. There's these things, which are power-ups that allow you to use certain abilities as you're kind of going through here. There's still monsters, obviously falling, dancing, and stuff. There's these barriers, which you have to use the abilities you have in order to break through them. Because this chimera, the chimera is going to be chasing you, so you do not want to lag behind. There's these boulders that are rolling back and forth the first turn or hindering your progress, and it's a pretty big section here. I'll show you if you see the map. You can see it's a big winding section that you want to run through.
So that honestly looks so cool, like Mario Kart or something. Like I don't think they've ever done anything like this before, right? Really innovative, interesting idea here. I may have to try out this trial, honestly.
Elder Karts Online, right?
Something like that. Yeah.
Yeah, I love it with the obstacles and the power-ups.
Yep.
That's great.
Absolutely. It's been a really fun kind of exercise for the team to dig into, all from a world building standpoint and ability standpoint. We needed a lot of tech to actually just be able to use abilities while you're on a mount. Some of this stuff is still in the process and whatnot, but you can see these barricades that are in your way that you have to kind of like destroy to get out of your way. This is a really cool and a new way to kind of take on trials that we've had that you haven't really seen in the game. There is a lot more to discover for this trial.
So that's it when it comes to the meaningful stuff. They talk about their dogs and stuff for a while afterward, but we don't need to go over all that. Overall, what I get from this, what I like in general about what the team at ZOS is doing this year and hopefully beyond, is trying new things, like really thinking outside the box, not just doing the same formulaic content over and over again. In some ways, it seems kind of timid, like they're not going quite far enough. Like I really wanted a little bit more out of the naval battle event, High Seas of Tamriel, but at the same time, it's innovative, it's cool, it's surprisingly cozy. I think I'm going to enjoy it a lot. And then when it comes to the Crimson Veldt trial, this is the first time I've really felt like doing a trial in years. The fact there's going to be mounted combat, the just really stunning beauty of the environments, the fact there's basically going to be a Mario Kart course, and I did notice that right after I said that, Gina also said this is Elder Karts Online, and so I wasn't the only one to notice that. Again, I just commend them for their innovation, for trying new things, for breaking the mold, so to speak. More than what the actual content is, this speaks well for the future of the game, that the developers have realized they have to do things differently in a more exciting way. And they're really starting to follow through with that design philosophy. They're making things seem more attractive and vibrant and interesting. And I really hope I capture the essence of that in this video. So in the comments, let me know what you think about High Seas of Tamriel and Crimson Veldt, what you think about the stream and how I packaged it into a more bite-sized format. As always, it's my hope to get this under 30 minutes. Right now I'm looking at OBS and I'm almost to an hour in the recording. Hopefully I can slim it down quite a bit. But yeah, my goal here is to make this accessible and still retain all the important information. So please leave your thoughts on my video, on the stream, on all the new content that is coming, any feedback or interesting tidbits you may have. So thank you as always for watching. Please remember to like, hype, and subscribe. You can support me further by becoming a member of the Spopes Army. We have a lot of members now. I really appreciate that. You can also pick up some of my Spopes merch on my Fourth Wall site. And on Fourth Wall, you can leave donations as well as leave donations here on YouTube in the form of super thanks. All right, everyone, we're going to finish up as always with a prayer to my Lord and Savior, Jesus Christ. Lord Jesus, thank you for inspiring the developers at ZOS to take a new direction with development in the last 12 to 18 months or so. Everything coming looks really cool and different and innovative and unique. So please do be with the developers as they make these changes. And Lord, please be with my community. I'm so grateful for all of them. Please show them your love and your mercy. Guide them closer to your side. And also, Lord, please do guide close to your side all those recently departed souls across the world. I give you all glory for the channel and for the video today, Lord. Lord, in your mercy, hear our prayer. That's going to do it, everyone. Again, do leave your comments below. Let me know what you're most excited for from the new stuff they showcase. And before you go, please remember to like, hype, and subscribe. And when you do subscribe, turn on notifications, because I'll be back soon with new content.